Where's that? Oh, there's George.
Yep, George is coming in, and I think Wes isn't gonna be able to make it. He said, not sure what he's got
Oh,
going on, but it may be tornado related. So you had to give him a little bit of slack.
yeah, could be tornado related. They got a new one.
I wouldn't doubt
they
it.
get,
I mean,
they get them often.
they have been getting just hammered with them.
Evening, guys.
Hello, how are you doing?
Evening.
It's a small crowd tonight for this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys are slowly meandering in.
We expecting Jack.
I think so. I don't know. We'll see. I didn't hear otherwise. So tentative, yes.
Thousands adjustments. Friday night. HP number 2 pencil.
Hello.
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 But we'll give it a few more minutes, see if Gabe can drop in with Jack. Like I said, I haven't heard anything about him not making it, but we will see.
Somebody likes the Eagles.
Is that the game playing in the background on Chris's TV?
No, that's actually my Roku screensaver.
The Eagles. Oh my god. Ugh. my body twitch just by saying that. Sorry, not an Eagle.
I'm ostensibly a 49ers fan, but I never watch football, so I don't really care, frankly.
My wife is a big Seahawks fan, so that of course makes me a big Seahawks fan.
You're at least in the region. I mean, I just sort of go with whatever the regional team is. That's why San Francisco's been default.
Yeah, that makes you a bandwagon fan, Chris.
Right? Yeah.
Did you sign the form?
Yes, basically yes. That was part of the marriage contract.
I married a nutball. I don't know how she puts up with our sports in this house. Oh, mine in particular. I watch everything. I watch American football. I'm a huge hockey fan, which is great because playoffs start on Monday. And I know I live in Edmonton, but I'm not an Oilers fan.
Well, I was gonna say you're Canadian, so you're kind of obligated to be a hockey fan.
Yeah, but I watch American football. I don't watch Canadian football. I consider the CFL to be what I would call the Children's Football League.
Well, you also properly pronounce your O's.
Or the washouts. My buddy Mike ended up playing Canadian football after being repeatedly kicked off of American football teams for testing positive for marijuana.
Yeah, well, we like that kind of stuff up here in Canada.
Well, this is years ago, but yeah, they won the Grey's Cup when he was playing for him a long time ago. Like I say, he'd been on like 5 different American football teams and tested positive for the performance-enhancing marijuana.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Performance enhancing?
what was his position?
He was a center.
Oh, that's great. You would be the most laid back center on the entire field.
Yeah, he was.
Hey, man, I got these guys. I got performance enhancing marijuana. It's the Pineapple Express football field.
He was a D&D nerd too. It was pretty funny. He had a few different teams. The different players would play D&D with them, and they'd have to hide it from the rest of the team. They're too ashamed to have them find out.
Well,
That doesn't surprise me.
there was just actually an article about I think it was a baseball team that like during their training, like one day a week, the team insisted that they have a day off every week so that they could get together and play D&D. Okay,
I think it's awesome. So, I mean, it's basically project management. It's team building. It's group dynamic.
exactly, and they get to blow
That's
off
all the
steam.
bullshit that we tell ourselves to make ourselves feel better, so we don't feel like real nerds. But we're team builders.
That's right.
Trust me, it's better than people running around playing first-person shooters and screaming obscenities at each other. I mean, in my mind,
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, desensitizing themselves to killing people.
Look at that shelf. People would
That's what
never,
my problem is.
ever in a million years know what I do for a hobby.
Right? Yes. No, there would be no guess.
Mine's full of World War II miniature games
Nice.
rules.
Nice.
1/300 scale, little lead tanks.
I love
Hello,
those
Gabe.
things.
Hello.
All right.
what's going on?
So, we will just go ahead and start. Welcome to Deepnight Revelation. We'll be picking up where we left off last week. These guys they have, I wouldn't necessarily say they've negotiated their way in, but they have come to an impasse, a rather sarcastic impasse about, with some raiders. They are standing outside of a slow pinnace, and the raiders have sarcastically agreed to meet them outside, and and they are on the planet Homestead. They are trying to get back Gannick from Gannick's mining outpost. He said that these raiders had come in and raided the town, taken everything he owned, and took his wife. But they later learned from other people at the outpost that Gannick has never been married, and they were in Gannick's outpost shed. I have a hard time calling it a house. And but it didn't. I mean, it was still filled with junk, so they're not quite sure what, in air quotes, everything I own actually entails. But they're going to find out. Before we get started, we'd like to thank a friend of the Greenwater Guildhall. None of these are sponsorships or partnerships of any kind. They're just products that we really like. And tonight we'd like to thank Dogmight Games. Dogmight Games makes beautiful wooden tabletop accessories for your role-playing games, such as DM screens, player vaults, dice towers, all manner of items that you can think of. And they are all customizable. If you order something that's customized, it will usually take 6 to 8 weeks for it to arrive. If you order something that they have in inventory, and they usually have quite a few items in inventory, those items will ship in 1 to 2 business days. If you haven't ordered from them before, or even if you have, it doesn't matter either way, but if you've been on the fence, this is a great time. We do have a 10% discount code, good for everything on their website, so pick out what you want, put it in your cart, and if you use the code FRIEND in all capital letters, Dogmight will give you 10% off your net purchase. We do have the Greenwater Guildhall merchandise store. We've got some T-shirts available. The T-shirt for the founding members, the Wayward Bastards, is up there. There is the Pirate Flag T-shirt for our Wednesday Night Traveler game is available. We have a a beer stein that actually makes for a pretty fantastic coffee mug. That is available with the Greenwater logo on it. And there is a fleece blanket that comes in small, medium, and large sizes with the map of the Glossian Empire from the Braunhaven campaign setting. All of those items, everything that is purchased, all of the profits that are made off that goes directly back into the channel. So please buy a t-shirt. Hell, buy more than one t-shirt. Buy a t-shirt and a beer mug. We love it when you do that. So where we left off, so you, what transpired is that there was an agreement that you guys had told the raiders, hey, let's meet outside of our ships, because you guys are kind of parked facing, or kind of offset facing each other. And the the raiders, kind of sarcastically said, "Yeah, okay." So, you guys are waiting for these pirates to come out, and you see, this is just a map of the layout. It's not a battle map of any kind, but you see that the airlock does indeed crack open, and a very peculiar individual pokes his head out. Now, the first thing that Sarda notices is, because Sarda had used life detection.
Right.
This individual's not pinging for you. He doesn't appear at all. To your psionic senses, he is invisible.
He's not human.
And he looks like this. And when I say he's a peculiar-looking individual, indeed, he is.
It's Gandalf.
Gandalf the space wizard.
And he pokes his head out and says, "Oh, hello, good travelers. Don't shoot at me."
I'll just say over the radio, why don't the other three of you come out?
Oh, we don't need to involve them. They're good and virtuous boys. I'm sure that you and I can work this out together.
I don't really want to talk to a hologram. Can you send the other three out?
I'm no hologram. I'm as real as anything standing around. And he reaches over and he knocks on the side of the ship.
Does it make a noise?
It does.
He's a robot. He's a robot Gandalf. Those are the worst.
The worst
And
Gandalfs.
And does both prongs of his stick shoot lasers?
No, that's just my old man's walking stick.
I don't even know why. I don't know why we're doing here.
Hey, let's just take the turret and blast him. Well, these guys are suspected raiders. Are the raiders classified as pirates?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, kind of my theory on it is that when they raid or when they attack ships, they're pirates. When they raid settlements on planets, they're raiders. One way or the other, they're basically the same thing.
I mean, these guys don't see much of a threat to the ship, but the main ship. But yeah, okay. I guess let's go outside.
So he as you step out, he steps up, and he introduces himself. Says, "My name is David Anderreich." He says, "As I said, these are good and virtuous boys. They got tied up in some things that, they're in over their heads."
Would you mind explaining that to us?
Well, it's a long, sordid tale, but suffice it to say that they don't want any more of this trouble. And he says, he says, no, don't shoot at them, please. And he waves at them, waves back at the ship, and the airlock door kind of swings open a little further, and you see that they've got this crate, and they set the crate out, and they duck back inside and shut the door. And he says, this crate is all that was taken from Gannick's outpost, to my knowledge.
What happened to the woman that had accompanied him back to his house?
He says, oh, there was no woman. There is this, though. And he goes over to the crate, and there's a bundle of something wrapped up in a heavy blanket, and he throws the blanket back, and it is the head, torso, and one arm missing of some kind of android-like robot. And it's partially bald. It's got some blonde hair, but it's like most of it's been ripped out of its skull. And like I said, it's missing the lower portion of it. And it looks around, and it looks at David, and when it blinks, like only one eye blinks, and the other one seems like it's half stuck. And it says, David, is my desert flower here? And he says, no, not yet. Just calm down. And he says, this is the only, I think it's female. This is the only form that I could think of that would fit that description, but there was no woman.
Okay, it's a sex doll. All right. Yeah, okay. I'm assuming they damaged it. It wasn't in this condition when they arrived.
Oh no, this is the exact condition that it was in when it arrived. You see, this several thousand years ago, this was a very high-tech piece of machinery, but it's seen better days, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Would you guys like to leave?
Well, I told the three boys aboard this ship that I would negotiate for their safe passage off of this rock.
Why did they attack the settlement?
Well, they were kind of forced into that position through circumstances of irreputable associations.
Let's hear what those are. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and I need to explain it to the people when we
Well, you
return.
haven't been in the Trojan Reach very long, have you, son?
No, I haven't been in the Trojan Reach long enough to understand why someone would show up, break in, steal a sex doll, and leave.
Well, because they happen to have been part of a crew or passengers on a ship that was pirated and then forced and subjugated into servicing those pirates. That's how most of these crews get their additional crew members, or cannon fodder in this case. There were 4 aboard this small craft, but one of them didn't seem to make it.
So who forced them to attack that settlement?
The captain of the pirate ship. In fact,
And
if you leave, you may be able to catch them. They're flying around in a small Seeker class mining ship, which is, for most of the outposts here on Homestead, is far more than anything that you might expect. But there's nothing that these settlers can do about them.
Here's my question. Do we really want to get involved?
I don't see any benefit other than taking this stuff and taking it back and leaving.
Take it back, leave, they get attacked again, but bottom line is, like,
whoever's flying that mining ship is preying on people. I mean, if we're trying to find out if there's pirates in the system, they're going to be the ones that would know.
So now we're do-gooders.
Well, we're eliminating a threat. You know, it's, for the Imperium, right?
Well, don't worry. I mean, it's not going to be too long. You're not going to care about
planet.
the Imperium anymore. But
This is that's what I'm. That's
We're
what I'm-
not.
this is
We're
a-
not. But the Imperium's going to come through here, right? You know, the Imperium worries about Trojan Reach. It's this buffer state,
mm,
and the more that people are, you know, the more goodwill you spend. You know, otherwise we just fuck off and leave. I mean, you know, like why? You know, this is not helpful for our mission at all.
No.
We
I
got
mean-
some
see,
samples.
so I keep hearing this over and over again that it's not helpful for your mission. Your mission is over 10 years out. Your mission is
Right.
is
But
literally whatever happens between here and there. There's so I mean if you're talking
Right.
about
So, but that's why I'm saying we're in an area that would benefit from Imperium having goodwill. So helping people to generate goodwill for the Imperium seems like a logical thing to do here.
yes.
So then it sort of that was negated by people saying, you don't know the Trojan Reach. I'm like, well, I kind of do, but you know, so that's why I'm saying this has, you know, I got soil samples. We got air samples. We've got, you know, we know that there is problems with the air here. It's something we can set our researchers to doing. Next time we drop a beacon or meet up with Imperium stuff, we can send information back that could possibly help this planet in the future.
We've got
Yeah, so
medical
that's-
scans, we've
yeah,
got
so-
medical scans, DNA.
So we got stuff
So-
to keep the scientists busy while we're traveling, and we can
Yeah,
send that
it-
information back.
That will
But-
keep your scientists a little busy. But as far now, and I tell you this because your characters would know this. As far as you, one, probably not. The Imperium is probably not going to be coming through here. I mean, they do
Because they have a peace treaty. The ASEM, they can't be within 14 or
Well, no,
however many
that is
sectors.
they do occasionally send flotillas through to root out pirates because there is the Dust Belt is their tradeway between the Imperium and
They just-
the Florian League, but
But
they
can
don't
never settle
care.
a planet. They can never settle a planet because it would violate the trade agreement, the peace treaty.
They're not interested in settling planets.
But I'm saying that's why they're not going to come back and conquer this planet. They can't because
they-
it'll violate the peace treaty.
They wouldn't either way. They literally give no fucks about the Trojan Reach. They don't
Well-
even have a bucket with 2 fucks in it.
Until a resource is determined to be here that they are interested in. So
Mm,
So
I
let's
don't
go
know.
find some.
So yeah, I mean the Trojan Reach, yes, it's a buffer zone between them and the Aslan, but as far as like I mean, if they were going to do something to help the people of the Trojan Reach, they'd have done so sometime in the last 1,000 years, and they haven't. They just literally don't care. The only time that they poke in is if piracy gets too bad. And when I say too bad, I mean that there's a certain level of piracy that's just tolerated. And, you know, if a ship is hit and they're forced to drop some of their cargo and then let go, that is, for the most part, ignored. It's not until a crew does something rash, like kill or murder everybody on a ship and try to take the ship and then turn around and sell it, or something completely insane like launching nuclear missiles at a Imperial patrol corvette. Those kinds of things tend to attract notice and will cause a punitive fleet to make their way through that basically makes life desperate for every pirate or salvager in the region. Aside from that, they don't give any shit. Which is that one?
And scanner.
Ah. So yeah, the Imperium doesn't really care. The only thing that they care about is that that there is a modicum of rational safety between the edge of the Imperium and the Florian League, and that is basically where their interest in the region stops. I mean, even Yggdrasil was chosen as a so Yggdrasil was chosen as kind of the anchor port on that end of the Trojan Reach because they have a space elevator, and at the end of the space elevator is the Golden Palace. Is it the Golden Palace? Yeah, it sounds like a Chinese restaurant. But anyways, at the end of this is the palace. The Golden Queen of Yggdrasil rules the subsector from there, and it was a big deal for Yggdrasil and Trojan Reach for the most part when the Imperium selected Yggdrasil as being being the anchor point for their trade. And the reason it was the real reason that it was picked is because it was the only port that still had berths big enough for the ships that they wanted to send through there, because we're talking about big bulk containers, anywhere from 50,000 to 300,000 tons. These big mega freighters are going back and forth, and so Yggdrasil was really the only place big enough, or with a port big enough to handle it. And it was thought of to be a big deal by Yggdrasil because, oh, well, no, the Imperium is recognizing us, and because she's the Golden Queen of Yggdrasil, she thinks that she is the heiress to the Sindalian Empire, and she thinks she's far more important than she is. And since that deal, her ego has kind of been deflated because she's not getting the respect or the kudos that she would expect from her cousin Emperor Strephon. And pretty much now that the Imperium has a docking point there, she's ignored. And if she does bitch and complain about it, the response is, well, what are you going to do about it? Because, we could just take over Yggdrasil if you would like, that's never been outright said, but that's always an underlying, you get what you get, and you're going to be happy about it, and shut up. And so that's kind of, how the Imperium has treated Yggdrasil. But aside from that, nobody cares. Other than where they have naval bases, and the naval bases even are only there for two reasons: to secure the trade route and to keep an eye on the Aslan. And other than that, they don't care about anybody else in the region.
Right. I'm just trying to figure out a reason we would care about these people's lives. You know what I mean? We're on a mission, scouting mission for Deep Space Nine. Or Deep Space, whatever, the Endeavor.
Right. And going back to that I'm going right back to what I said initially. Your main mission is 10 plus years out. You are going to be at hundreds of planets between here and there.
So then, you obviously prep this. We want to partake. We want to honor that, but we're trying to. Why would we? You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at. Is
there may not be a reason.
Okay.
You're there. Like I said, it's going to get your caring what the Imperium thinks is going to be much, and it's going to matter less and less the further out you get. In fact, once you get out past the Florian League, it's not going to matter at all.
But we're not there. We're in a place where that politics does matter, and opinion of the Imperium does matter, and so it makes sense that you'd want to try to leave a good impression.
I understand. That if you want to garner goodwill with the Imperium, that 100% on board with that. I'm just saying is that between here and there, you're gonna be on many worlds, and
but
next to none of them are going to involve dealing with.
But landing on a planet and going, "Hey, it looks like your life sucks." Well, we're out. That doesn't.
That doesn't look very good either.
That's why I'm trying to figure out, what we can do here, and so.
What we can do is we can get this stuff back to the previous owner.
Why don't we ask them to bring it back
and then scan to see if we can find anything? And if we can't, then c'est la vie.
Yeah, why don't you guys bring this back and apologize? You terrorize those people. They're living lives of misery as it is. You stole the one thing that brought joy to one of the guys that lives there, and you terrorized the others that live there. So, yes, we could bring this back, but you could bring it back, and you could apologize.
Okay. And so David Anderreich says, give me just a moment. And he opens up the airlock and he goes inside. And after a few moments, he comes out, and the three ragamuffin raiders are standing behind him, and they're kind of hanging their heads. And he says, "That is agreeable. These three lads have agreed to return this crate to Gannick's outpost."
Explain what happened to them. They don't know why they were attacked. They don't understand what went on. I mean, if you're newly freed from your slavery to these pirates, maybe talk to them. They can. That looks like they're kind of down on their luck too. They could use some help.
That could be a good solution. You could take this slow pinnace and you could go over to Gannick's outpost and sign on with the outpost and actually turn your lives around.
Perfect.
Little hard work might do these boys some good. And David Anderreich turns to you and he says, "Well, it appears that my job here is done." And he says, "With that, I will take my leave. I hope to see you in the future." And he turns and he starts to walk off into the desert. He's got no vehicle. He's got no backpack, no provisions. He just starts to walk off into the desert.
Can we give you a ride somewhere?
"Oh, no, I'm fine. Thank you."
Would you mind telling us what you are?
Yeah.
Oh, and he stops and he looks over his shoulder. "Well, of course. I'm a sorcerer."
All right.
Space Gandalf abides. Yes.
He's Gandalf. I told you he was Gandalf.
So he says, "Of course, I am a sorcerer." And he takes his floppy pointy hat off and he bows, and he's wearing this gray like overcoat with a cloak attached to it, and he's got jeans on that look like maybe at one time they were blue and now they're just not. And he's wearing this, under this gray overcoat, he's wearing this garish, the most hideous Hawaiian shirt you've ever seen. And he bows and he says, "I am a practicer from the arcane order." And you guys can all roll an intellect check.
He's a nutball. Or it's a nutball.
It's a nut.
Intellect, you said?
Yes.
I get a whole whopping 4.
I get a 9.
Ooh.
Coming for you, Gandalf.
What did Sarda get?
I'm rolling here.
Okay. And what about Jack?
I'm not rolling. I don't know.
Okay. So Sarda and George, you have heard of this arcane order. It is a pseudo-religious group. Yeah, cult that is based on the teachings of a cult leader named Amulf Dimitrov. And Dimitrov was purported to be a sorcerer who had figured out through reading ancient texts and studying relics from ancient archaeological sites and things of that matter, how to actually perform real magic. But he disappeared about 2 centuries ago. And his followers have continued to essentially scour the charted space for, ancient texts and let me get back in 18. Ancient texts and ancient artifacts, things of that matter. They are basically scours of knowledge, and they have made claims that nobody's ever actually seen any of these people actually perform any kind of miracle or magic or anything of that matter. And none of them claim the ability to do so. but they will claim that, they'll get some kind of, well, there has been attempts to discern what it is that they're learning. And so some of these old texts, they've actually taken photocopies of these pages, and what appears to be lucid and legible text that contains no actual useful information whatsoever. But these guys claim that it does. And most of them dress fairly normal. You would not be able to tell them one from the other. They wear suits and ties, they wear jeans and t-shirts, they work in spaceports, and this is kind of a side hobby cult for them. This guy seems to have taken it completely to the other end of the spectrum.
Because he probably is on the spectrum.
Yes. My great-great-grandfather was Space Daddy. So, he kind of does his bow and puts his hat back on and continues on his way off into the desert.
Okay. That was weird.
That was weird. Concur. So, are we going to watch these guys fly back?
I don't care.
We could oversee him if we really want to. Do the big thing. I am a man of the law anyways, and wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of justice handed out. And then if somebody does, try to get in our way, I'm going to turn them to flame.
Okay. So
I'm ex-Navy, so I'm anti-pirate.
Okay, so these guys board up, and Jack, you can make a piloting plus dex check to follow them. Actually, this guy's a pretty good pilot. Okay. So
not as good as Jack.
Yeah, so Jack climbs into the cockpit, and you guys lift off in your in the Destinex, the scout ship, and the pinnace takes off, and you guys follow them, and sure as shit, they go right back to Gannick's outpost and set down, and the people of Gannick's outpost see the slow pinnace returning, and you can see them scattering and running back into their buildings. But then they see that you guys are coming back too, and so they come back out and meagerly stick their heads out of doors and windows, and the ship sets down, and they come out with this box, and Gannick comes running out of his shed. And he's like, oh, my little desert flower, have you returned her? And the three raiders, they kind of hand him the box, and they hang their heads and, yes, Mr. Gannick, we're really sorry, but we were forced into it, and we're really sorry about what happened. We would like to stick around and try to help out your outpost. And Gannick, pulls the blanket off of this partial android, and he picks it up and he hugs it. Oh, my sweet little desert flower, I'm so happy you're back. And the android kind of stutters and is like, it's got like a twitch in its neck. He's like, don't you worry, we'll get you fixed right up. And he turns to you guys and thanks you profusely. He's like, I really don't have much that I could offer you, but thank you for your assistance.
Sure. I would warn you that what you're doing for a living is probably killing you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's a common.
I don't know if that's going to change anything in your life, but
probably not. That's a common thread throughout pretty much all of the worlds of the Trojan Reach. I mean, all of these planets have been hit by biologics and atomics, and I think there's like, it's funny because if you go through the Trojan Reach book, when you get all said and done, I think there's something like maybe 5-6 planets that came through that fairly well. Everybody else was hosed. It was a
I don't
bad
know.
Civil War.
Just in the Sindeli sector mostly.
Well,
Sindeli
yeah, because that was where the majority of the fighting went. But even depressed sector, they didn't really do well either. So
There's quite a few planets. Lilligan.
well, depressed sector didn't do well, not because of the Civil War, but we'll get into that. So
I don't know that Lilligan was a Sindelian planet. It's not one
The
of the
garden
22.
planet with the prison.
well, number
It's
one,
also
number
right on
one
the
was a
border of
prison
the Imperium.
planet. Yeah. I mean, all of these. Chachila was one of the ones out of the 5 or 6 that didn't get fuckered. But yeah, none of these came out well.
Torpil did all right.
Yeah, Torpil did okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, these guys don't really have a whole lot. They do have some tech that they can give you, if you would be interested. But I mean, honestly, most of their tech, it's going to be spare parts, but we are talking like TL-15 stuff.
Yeah, sure.
So he comes back, and after it takes the outpost about, I don't know, probably about an hour, and they are able to get together a I guess a care package for you guys. Somebody can write this down. It is 20 repair units, and it is TL-15. And this stuff can be used to repair computers, upgrade computers. It could be used possibly to do modifications to armor and weapons. Depending on what you want to do, it'll take X number of these repair units, and you can deduct that from your total.
Is that 20 or
20.
Yep. And you note that this looks like what they've given you. This looks like it is the cream of the crop from whatever it is that they're mining from that shaft down below. I can bring the shaft back up here.
we profusely thank them?
Oh, they tell you are more than welcome. You have done them a great service. I mean, they're even tentatively kind of excited about the fact that that they have 3 new members, and they've got a ship.
They got new workers.
There's new workers. They've got people that can operate a ship. I mean, out here, having a ship is a big deal, because it's not going to take them, 3 or 4 days anymore to get back to the spaceport, which is really the only legit town. Or I'm really pressed at calling it a city.
You might want to work out a way to hide it.
Yes, that is a good idea. So beyond that, you have done.
What would you have gotten for this stuff if you'd sold it on the market? How much money would you have made up for this?
Oh, anywhere from 10 to 15,000 credits.
I'll give him 10K.
Oh no! This is a reward. You helped us.
Yeah.
We're going somewhere where we're not going to need money, and I'm still getting paid.
Okay, so they are
overjoyed.
Yeah, they are well, more than overjoyed. They're flabbergasted at the generosity of anybody.
Of Jesus Christ.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about like they're going to probably bake a mud brick statue of Sarda in the middle of Gannick's outpost, because this is completely strange. Nobody comes to Homestead and is generous.
All right. Well, yeah, like I say, we're not going to need money where we're going.
Okay.
But they keep paying us. So.
All
And
right.
so you're going to keep spending it.
So
That's a good idea.
so
Are we going to take off and then scan for this other ship,
Yeah.
okay.
or just go?
I mean, let's scan for the other ship. Because I mean, in reality, they're probably going to come back here and take the Pennis.
Right. So Jack, go ahead and make another piloting plus dex check, and then who wants to make a scanners plus or a electronic sensors plus?
I got
Yeah, we
it.
know who that is.
Okay.
That's sorta all day long.
My one skill. My two skills. That and jump drive. Come on.
I just see stuff.
Yeah, I've noticed it was doing this on Wednesday night. When you go to roll dice, it wants to show.
I
something.
closed my character sheet, and it was taking forever to pull it back up. All right, I got a 12.
Okay, so you guys take off, and Sarda, with your 12, you do see a other ship. It is a Seeker mining class ship. Here. But the other thing that you see coming into the, and I don't have an icon for it, but it is just at, what is that? It would be just at long range. You see Revelation coming to the edge of this debris field around the planet. And right on schedule, this is where it's supposed to be. But you do see this small 100-ton mining ship darting around in the debris field, and they are actively scanning you back.
Oh, not a good idea.
Yeah, not a good idea.
What would you guys like to do?
Kill them.
You know what? If these are dirty, rotten pirates,
That sounds like a new SNL movie.
I am the law.
Dirty Rotten Pirates.
That's right.
Judge Dredd.
Such a great character.
Judge George Dredd. Judge, jury, and executioner.
What is this?
Well, it's better than being RoboCop because that's kind of where I am. Actually, I'm just messed up. I've got subdurable armor, wafer jack, neurocoms built in. Just bad things happened.
I guess we radio them.
Okay.
I think we start by radioing him or Deepnight. I think we should radio Deepnight first and warn them of this. Make sure they see this little ship.
Say that they're pirates, known pirates.
Okay. So you radio Deepnight. Yeah, you radio Deepnight, and they confirm and are locking onto your sensor lock.
I mean, we've got missiles that are bigger than this ship that we're threatening.
Well,
this is true.
Your
100-ton missile after 100-ton ship ought to do the job.
Well, I mean, your ship is only 100 tons bigger than theirs. I mean, the one that you're in right now.
I understand, but I'm saying in terms of them being a threat to deep space is.
Oh yeah, no, they're not.
That's ridiculous.
Pretty ludicrous.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
Ludicrous.
absolutely.
Ludicrous
they
doesn't
are not.
stop some people. So what are we going to do, folks?
Yeah, it is up to you. But let's see. I need to make a reaction check. they start to run. They're noping out. They are turning around and bolting.
And those are the only two ships that I'm picking up with scanning the area, right?
Yep. Everything else is just a debris field.
All right. So it seems like the system's fairly safe. I don't know. How long is the deep space going to be here? How many more days?
It's refueled. It was going to do some sensor checks, but considering that you have been down on the world already, you guys already ran a lot of sensor stuff that they were going to do in the meantime, and you can almost hear the collective groans of the mission crew because all they're going to have left to do is just to go over your samples rather than collecting them on their own.
Too bad, so sad. Dear Dad.
I mean, we did get all of our samples from one specific spot. I don't know if they want to hit multiple locations of the planet.
The captain of Deepnight, this is just standard procedure, and they figured that this was a good spot for finding something to do. It's really not that important. It's not. Homestead's known for the most part. This is no longer a shakedown cruise, so you've gotten past that point. They can take your information and run with it.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So are we going to talk to the fleeing ship, or are we just going to ignore him?
He's fleeing at maximum of 2 Gs of thrust.
What are we? Are we going to blow him up for being a jerk?
Shits and grins?
Yeah, I think we should blow him up for being a jerk.
Right. Well, there you go.
We're going to blow him up for S&Gs.
We don't have to use expensive missiles, though.
Gabriel probably knows what those are.
So I guess we need to do the obligatory radio them to inform them that we're about to blow them up.
Yeah, I guess you could do that.
For crimes against humanity.
Because we're going to have to go through debriefing and explain why we blew the ship up. So let's...
That's true.
It's clearly fleeing from us, so it's not posing a threat. If they're using our sensor lock, they know the situation already.
Okay, so everybody...
They got a cruiser aimed
So the first question is, does anybody have Tactics Naval?
Oh, sure, because every cop has that.
Gregor does, but he's in the other game.
I would think Gabe might. Does Gabe's character have?
I don't know.
I think he's the most likely to have it.
Like Tactics Ground.
Oh, really?
So everybody needs to roll initiative.
Wait, this is ship initiative, right?
I wrote 11.
I don't run their space initiative because it's just too it's too wonky compared to the rest of it. So just everybody roll initiative, and then we just go around the table of what each person is doing on the crew. So
we're not doing anything yet. We haven't pulled the. We're not
we're not doing that. But I need to know where everybody's at in the stack. We might as well get that out of the way.
But I'd be nervous that if the gunnery guy beats everybody on initiative and shoots before we've even decided to do anything, that would really be bad.
Right? Yes.
I'm 11.
Okay.
9.
And Sarda got a 3.
Yep.
Okay. So you're radioing this ship. What are you radioing them? What are you saying?
We're going to give all of your information to the city down below that you have been raiding outlying communities. Please knock it off.
Hey, evildoers, stop doing all that evil.
Yeah. And we're going to blow them up.
We're not blowing them up because then we have to explain to our captain why it was important for us to blow up another ship.
because
A
we
ship
felt
that
like
clearly needed posed no threat whatsoever to us.
They don't radio.
Does the ship look threatening?
It's a seeker mining ship. I mean, generally, it does have
Oh my gosh, those seeker mining ships, we should blow them up. I'm just messing with you, sort of.
But it does have a turret on it that is armed with 2 pulse lasers. But I mean, it's a mining ship. I mean, that's not that unusual.
after all, they might have perked themselves from pirates while they're mining.
Exactly. Exactly.
You're not really helping my whole, blowing up the ship thing, are you?
Well, why don't we radio the town now? Is the town actually the main city, the trade hub? Do they?
They have a radio.
Can
Yeah,
we
you
actually?
can. I mean, honestly, hold on. I will tell you. That's a good question, but I want to say that it has a ridiculous spaceport.
Oh, I'm sure it's just a flat air parking lot with some water nearby.
No, actually,
They have what's left of a 2,000-year-old gargantuan spaceport downport.
no. There we
I need a
Huge
beer.
tracts of land.
go. Right.
Where's-
Huge tracks land.
Where's the dock when I need him?
I know, right? Here we go.
I need a half pint of that lovely product from your still, so I can put it with a pint of distilled water, because your liquor's 120 proof.
Right. So yeah, Holmes, you're not far from wrong. It does have a Class D starport. To be honest, this is it has the worst starport in the subsector.
No, it doesn't.
It's
Everything-
worse than Borite.
Well,
It'll be
no,
so
you're-
much
you're right.
better
Ace
without that-
Ace actually has a
without
worse
that pirate
starport. You're
ship.
right.
It'll be so much better without that pirate ship.
Yeah, it is a Class D starport. It's just a small town out in the middle of the desert, and that is their quote-unquote trade hub. Jadeco keeps promising to build a spaceport here and just hasn't invested the money.
The planet probably isn't worth it for them. So I radio the spaceport and say we've encountered a small mining ship that apparently is a raider. They raided a small community. What was the name of the community? It was
Ganix Mining Outpost.
They raided mining outpost Ganix earlier. Is this ship a known problem? Is this something that needs to be dealt with?
So the what passes for the air traffic tower at the downport, you hear crackling static, and you can barely make out their voice, and they tell you that almost every ship in the system is a problem.
That must be great doing business as a starport.
Everybody's bad.
Well, some days.
It's like the employee at 7-Eleven who dreads every time someone walks in the door.
Right? Yes. And pretty much that's working the late night shift at a convenience store. Yeah. So I mean, some days the raiders come down and they attack town or outposts and settlements on the planet. Other days they pirate a ship, and then they have nowhere else to sell the goods but the downport on Homestead, and so that's where a lot of these stolen goods go, and then they end up getting ferried out into the reaches of the desert, never to be seen again. So
sell the goods.
We know the ship's name. Is that ship a known? Are they is there a bounty on them? Are they a known criminals? Is this something?
That is a good question. They are not. There is no bounty, but they are not a known ship. The port has never done any business with them before.
All right. Sorry. I'm looking for excuses to blow them up, guys. All right. Well, the trading community out at Ganix, they would beg to differ, but I guess that will let you know that they are a known problem.
Okay. So
And,
they
good talk.
log
have a good day.
Yeah, they log your I guess your complaint, and that's about all the port can do. I mean, they're a
Yep.
Class D port. Unlikely that they even have any kind of orbital or not orbital, but they probably don't even have any aircraft weaponry or anything. I mean, it is literally just a flat space of dirt and a town.
With some water tanks nearby.
Yeah, some water tanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think we're done here, guys. I don't know.
I think so too.
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay, so you guys get back to Revelation, and okay, and
I want one of these ships for Christmas.
there we go. So you get back to Revelation. Revelation sets. Well, actually, this wasn't the map I wanted. They set their astrogation, and they jump. Where's my map? There we go. So this is the map. The next jump in a week, you will end up in Caldos, and your week in jump space is uneventful. Standard procedure. You guys do your security checks, maintenance, things of that nature. But for the most part, it is just another normal week in jump space. The mission crew seems to be fairly placated with dealing with the samples that you brought up for them. It has, essentially given them something to do, even if it's not really all that much. But they have determined a couple of things in this week. And the first thing, from the samples you took from the well specifically, what the homesteaders refer to as a disease called damp lung. And it is a mutated biologic that, they don't have, because they don't have the source, they're guessing, but it's a fairly solid guess, that this originated from the Sindalian Civil War. And this thing kind of just, after a amount of time of sitting in this environment and mixed with the radiation from the atomics that went off, it turned into this respiratory illness. It is quite lethal. It's basically like on a Monday you come down with pneumonia, and by Friday you're probably dead unless you receive antibiotics. So it's fairly lethal. And it will, if you do survive it, it'll do permanent lung damage, all sorts of stuff. Coming out at the end of the week into Caldos, nothing of interest happens here. The Revelation refuels at the gas giant. Caldos is interesting because it is basically a cold, waterless rock, but it does have a small colony. And most of this colony came from Depress, which is your next stop. And Depress actually has a naval base. Depress has been through some hardships. And not all of it was because of the Sindalian Civil War. Slightly after that whole Civil War thing got done, Depress was kind of moving towards, hey, you know what? We are the most populated, most technological. We are the capital of the subsector. We are the center for culture and learning. It doesn't matter that the empire fell. We will bring back civilization. And then God looked at looked at Depress and said, nope, fuck you. And they had an ice age happen. And the ice flows came down into their harbors and ruined their cities. But the people of Depress, they persevered and still insisted that they were the cultural capital of the world, even though all of their farms were dying and they were having all these problems. And then, where's Tyr? Tyr. There it is, right here. That planet decided to invade them and then occupied them for 2 centuries. And that went on until Asus hired Aslan mercenaries to basically go and beat the shit out of Tyr, in which case Tyr pulled back all of their flotilla. So while you guys you're only going to be in Kaldos for 3 days, but you're getting these, you're getting local news. And I say local news. Of regional news, everything is at least a week old. Some of it is several months old. But you keep seeing an ad come up. And this ad looks like this. And the local news, and news that is, a couple weeks old coming out of Depress, is that there is along with these ads, the news is that there is a problem with the current stock exchange. And we're not talking about the local subsector stock exchange. I mean, right now it's really hitting Yggdrasil and Depress subsectors, but the news commentators in the local area in Depress are thinking that this problem with the stock exchange goes further. And essentially what's happening is that stock prices are tanking and people are making a shitload of money from selling speculative trade.
Are they selling short?
Essentially, yes. That's essentially exactly what they're doing.
I'd like to buy some shares of Index Fund. I'm going to hold them for 20 years.
Yeah, I gotta find the index for the lowest combination for the lowest 10 stocks and hold it for 28 years.
So you guys spend your 3 days refueling in Kaldos and then jump to Depress, and so.
In the meanwhile, I'm drinking a couple of margaritas with hallucinogen in it.
Yes. So this
Good
is
old Doc.
This is the Depress system. Depress is 0.82 AU out. It has in the in the intervening time, it has somewhat recovered from its little ice age, but it is still not nearly as populated as it once was. But Depress is still, man, they got 2,000 years of chutzpah. They are really, they still say, hey, we are the subsector capital. We are the center for culture and learning. And hey, we have an imperial naval base. And in orbit over Depress is a naval base. And I mean, it's not a enormous naval base, but this is the naval base at Depress. And Deepnight Revelation the captain figures he's just going to dock, refuel, and get the move on. And once again, while you're at Depress, you are seeing these ads for Delta Commerce. It is, and I mean, you guys aren't dumb. You realize that this is it's a pyramid scheme. So, but in order to get in on it, you have to buy level 1, and you get the level 1 ebook, 20% off introductory price. but the introductory price is only like 100 credits. And these news commentators that are local to the region are saying that they're not entirely certain that this isn't on the up and up, because people are making money by following the guidelines from level 1.
Not like we're going to be here to follow the guidelines.
Right?
Yeah, you spend 100 credits and support some guy sitting in his mom's basement going, I sold another one.
So yeah, the way this thing works is level 1 only costs you 100 credits, 20% off right now, introductory price. But once you have made 1,000 credits, you can then buy into level 2, and that's 1,000 credits. And what level 2 gets you is that you will get a financial transactions trainer who will teach you, and anything that you make from there, 10% of that profit will go to the trainer. And then you know, once you've made another 1,000 credits, then you can reach level 3. And at level 3, 10% goes to the trainer, and you have to make, 5,000 credits. And at 5,000 credits, you reach level 4, etc. And it just keeps building and building and building. But what all these news commentators are saying is that they haven't really read the book, but they're saying that level 1 must work because essentially there's this big fad going on right now where everybody's buying into Delta Commerce and tanking the markets. And that because they're like the gambler that goes and hits blackjack at the table on his first hand, scoops up all the chips, and then leaves.
Yeah, that's me.
It's me too, but yeah.
if you win money on the first hand, you go
Yeah,
upstairs, go to bed.
Right, exactly. Go have a drink and go to bed. I mean, And so, yeah, I mean, that is the big concern right now. But, again, you're in port for maybe a couple days. It's not the usual where you would be in port for a week and then move on. And then it jumps. Now, Yggdrasil is a whole other matter. This is the space elevator above Yggdrasil. There is a big to-do for your arrival at Yggdrasil. The Golden Queen has put out... she is the Golden Queen, right? I am saying that right. Hold on. I've used her before, and...
Buy the level 1 book for $100 and then or 100 credits, and then loan it to people for 5 credits a week.
Yeah, I mean,
we're gonna be
sure.
gone for quite a while. Why don't we could all learn
So
financial.
The present Golden Queen, the Empress of Sindel in exile, the absolute despot of the stars, the supreme goddess incarnate, and the mother of water. She is a 17-year-old girl. Her mother actually died about a year ago, and it is not openly discussed, but there is rumor that perhaps the daughter had something to do with it.
Perhaps so.
But the court of Yggdrasil has, since the daughter has taken over, to be honest, the court of Yggdrasil has kind of mellowed out, because her mother, because she felt like she was so overshadowed by Strephon, would make these grand proclamations of all this stuff that she was declaring, but she had no real power or authority to do any of that. And so the daughter is not nearly as boisterous as her mother. And so this is Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil, the planet, is garbage. It's desert, and the planet's on permanent water rations. And this is why the queen is known as the mother of water, because she gives out the water to the plebeians of the planet. But You guys are invited to a state dinner, and it's a dress uniform event, but when you step
And
off,
there's my dress uniform.
right, when you step off into the dock, everything is like people are running around, shouting, waving data pads over their heads. And you can see that all of the monitors are set to trade and stock tickers, and every time somebody makes a new massive profit off of speculative trading, there's a bell that sounds over the intercom. But you're looking at the screen below it where there's big corporation stocks, and their stocks are going into the toilet.
Is there going to be an economy left when we get back?
Well, that's why you buy an index fund. You assume the entire stock market's not going to completely collapse. It might.
Yeah,
might
and you need to use monthly averaging.
Yeah.
You ever been through that spiel?
Well,
Heard that spiel? You buy every month and a certain amount of dollars every month, and some months you get not very many stocks, and some months you get more, and it averages out.
I mean, yeah. The downside for us is that we wouldn't be able to rebalance. So, but that's
Well, it's why you buy an index. Somebody else is doing that.
Yeah, some of the stuff that you're seeing around the port, some of these guys that are making a whole bunch of money are doing it in like a couple of hours, because it really and you guys have already done this. You know that a lot of the speculative trade that is purchased and sold, these guys never leave the port. And they're making money hand over fist as well. They're basically buying it from one trader and selling it to another trader, and they never have to get up from their desk. And so a lot of these guys are just making money hand over fist. Now, the other thing that you see when you came into port, you see some of these huge mega freighters. And around the port itself... okay. So Jack's walking around like Julian from Trailer Park Boys with he's always got his rum and coke in his hand. And so you see a lot of these big mega freighters. Some of the ships are not of classes that you recognize. You've never seen these types of ships before. You're not sure where they came from. Well, yeah, I mean, not all trade is speculative. I mean, sometimes that if you buy X here, it's going to sell for this much there. That's always an option. But then there's times where you buy speculative trades where you buy something, you're like, I don't know what this is going to sell for. I'm thinking it'll sell well, and then you go for it. So, So the other thing that you see around the port, and may have something to do with these ships, is you see that there is a race or a pair of races that are walking around that are very peculiar, and you're not sure what you're looking at. So there is this one race where they appear to be humans, but they're very short. They're like maybe 5 feet tall. Their heads are big. The rest of their body seems very slight, and they're, like I said, they're like 5 feet tall, and they've got really long fingers on their hands. Aside from that, they don't look like they're capable of doing much. Along with them, and working in conjunction with them, are massive hulking humanoids. These guys are like nearly 7 feet tall and are built like brick shit houses, and they have muscles that go all the way up into their neck. And just watching them, you don't even have to engage with them, and they're not the brightest bulb in the chandelier. They are not very smart. But they're really good at picking stuff up and moving it.
So we got some Florians.
That's exactly what those are. That is exactly what those are. They are the Bernai and the Fescals. And first Gandalf offers the trolls. Yes, now you need a two-hand sword. Yes. So these are the Bernai and the Fescals, and they are indeed the Florians. They are a split caste that has kind of turned into two distinct races. So you guys have your big show dinner, and the queen. It's more of the same, like what you did with the Duke. She wants to go over. Where are you planning to go? I've heard that there's something at Terminus Point. What are you expecting to find there? Are you
Space wizards?
Are you expecting to get into battles? I mean, are you going to have to fight dangerous aliens? She wants to hear your whole story. But I would imagine you're probably being polite. But she's not she's not as interested as the Duke of Tobiah was. She is more just, I don't know, wasting time. Everybody make a recon plus intellect check.
Oh, wow. It's the first time I've rolled that.
Nine.
That's a 2, Chris.
Wow.
But with my intellect, it's actually a 4.
George has to excuse himself to pick his nose. But Jack and Randolph, what did Sardi get?
I got a 7.
Okay. So Jack and Randolph, you this room, you're sitting at the main table, but I mean this is a large banquet hall, and there are numerous other tables. You see David Anderreich sitting at another table. He's being polite. You didn't notice him right off the bat because he's not wearing his pointy hat. He got here before you did.
That's interesting.
Yeah, especially considering that you have a jump force ship. That's one of the fastest vessels in the entire sector.
And he's got to jump 5 somehow.
But he's a space wizard.
Yeah, he's been invited to this thing as well. He hasn't noticed you. He's just sitting there chowing down on his meal, space lobster. What? I mean, you can make as much of this meal and going and approaching him as you want, or you could, we could move on.
I think I'll just walk over and introduce myself.
Yeah, Jack's like, move on.
I didn't notice him.
Right. So Randolph, you go over and he looks up from his meal. And he wipes his mouth and kind of cleans his beard. He goes, "Oh, I didn't expect to see you so soon. I hope everything turned out okay for our friend Gannick."
As near as we could tell, it did.
That's excellent.
At least when we left, it was still okay.
Oh, yes. Things on that world seem to, well, they seem to change overnight, like a bad storm coming in. And he looks at you and he looks at Randolph and he says, "Well, you be careful in your travels." And he can see the rest of your group getting up from the table and getting ready to head back to the ship. And he looks at you and goes, "And you might want to keep some antifungal cream around." And he winks at you.
Oh shit! I got my flame rifle in the car in the Desinex. And I thank him and wish him a good trip.
Yeah, he nods, and you go meet up. Are you gonna Are you going to let the rest of the group in on this little conversation?
Yes, I replay the warning about the fungal cream.
I wish Wes was here.
So do I, actually, because I think he's got a cream for just about everything.
No, I wish he was in terms of the psionic stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a little less. I'm a little more hesitant to tip
Try
my
it
hat.
again.
Well, I mean, as in I've already tried. He doesn't register as a life form, which is a bit weird. I can start.
Just a bit.
You could certainly try to read surface thoughts.
Yeah, I just am hesitant to do so because I don't. That really tips my hand. Whereas when Wes actually playing a race that is known to be psychic, it's a little less problematic.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. Whereas humans in Imperium employ, it's kind of a big deal not to let people know that you can do that.
So
yeah, they're going to put you in jail and execute you.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it's or torture and vivisect me. That's far more likely.
So this conversation with David Anderreich, well, like I said, one, it's a little weird that he got here before you. How did that happen? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
And two, it's clear that he knows about your classified mission.
We'll
Yeah.
see. Well,
Nobody else is supposed to know about the fungus among us.
I'm gonna read surface thoughts on him. That's bad. Let me.
can we let Wes in and do something?
Yeah. Even though Bocephus isn't here.
Yeah, let me.
Well, he's still on the crew. He should be here. Somebody can roll for.
So
That's a success. That's a success for me.
Okay, so, well, he didn't need to do that. So, you are able to read surface thoughts, and what you read is not like anything that you've had with telepathy before. You, instead of instead of listening to what this guy's, casually thinking about, or, overhearing what he's thinking about a conversation, instead of that, you actually get a vision of space, of what you think is space, stars and shifting colors, and it's all going to, it's like funneling down in a tunnel to a black spot way off in the distance.
This is not good. Let's just nuke this guy and get him out of the way.
Good luck. So I'll ask: are you sure you don't want to ride to our next destination? I mean, admittedly,
he looks up at your group and he goes, "Well, actually, it might be quite interesting to join your crew if that could be a possibility. I'm not sure what I could contribute to such a magnificent mission as yours, but I think that I myself could gain much insight into things that I have been searching for, and perhaps I can pass on some of that knowledge to you."
I'm all for it, but we are probably going to need to put together some type of resume so that we can impress.
Yes, a sorcerer probably doesn't look good as my only job description.
Yeah,
I know how you official types work. That's probably
Do you have any skills?
laughable.
Researcher, maybe.
Yeah, most most of his skills are things like art perform. He does have some science research skills. He's basically got really, really high intellect, and everything else is, but you're not feeling like, so with your contact with him, You don't feel like he is psionic. You feel like he's something else. Something you haven't ever dealt with. Like there's something else going on with this guy.
Yeah.
Does he have some diplomatic skill?
Well, yes. I
Well,
mean,
think Jack wants to know if he's got survival.
yeah. He. I don't
He's
think he does.
probably not. The guy's able to somehow warp 4 systems away on his own, walking. Don't need a lot of survival skill.
Yeah, he really doesn't. And if you for instance, if he says he's a sorcerer, if you went up to him and said, "Prove that you're a sorcerer, cast magic," he'd be like, "Oh, I don't know any magic. I don't know any spells." But then he's able to suddenly do things, like be here, as an example. Now,
Space wizard.
that's not. I mean that. I mean, maybe there's a
Ask
jump.
him if he
jump
knows
5
what
ship.
the Schwartz is.
I mean, it's possible that there was a jump 5 ship. I mean, there are couriers and whatnot, so maybe that's explainable. But it is a little weird that he got here ahead of you, and
Yeah,
it's
'cause
weird that he.
Not only that, he had to walk out of the desert to get to a ship if he had one.
Right. There's that too. And courier ships aren't usually known to just randomly land in a desert. And then the other part of it is how would he know about what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm going to help him put together whatever we need to put together to get him assigned to the crew.
Okay, so does somebody have either admin or advocate? I know somebody's got advocate.
I got admin 1.
That would do it. Go ahead and make an admin plus intellect check.
I've got both those at 0, so you're probably in better shape than me.
7.
So you're able to throw together, a
Middling.
resume, and I mean, you guys can go ahead and forward this to the captain, or you can pass it over to somebody who's got advocate, and they can dress it up a little bit with some legalese and make it look really good. Although they'll have to make it at a -1.
Okay. What did I hit? -1. That's not good.
Yeah, it still comes out about the same, but with a 7, it's still enough that you can give this to the captain and tell him, "Hey, we're going to pull him into the mission crew." And the captain, I mean, he looks at this resume, he's like, "Why?" But whatever, he tells you guys can add whoever you want to the mission crew. I mean, they've got some space for a couple of additional crew members, but he's like, you're not going to want to pick up every stray puppy that you meet.
All right, so let me explain why we need him. He was instrumental in helping us with our mission last system.
2
that we
systems
were in.
before.
No, it was the last
I think it was 2 systems ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
2
almost 2 systems before.
two systems back.
So, okay.
And
Yeah, I mean, the captain said, you guys are the command team for the mission crew, and or the mission division, and mission division. That sounds like a Nickelodeon cartoon.
He was here before we got here. Again, he helped us 2 systems back. The last we saw him, he was walking out into the desert.
The captain kind of looks at you and he goes, "Well, that is damn peculiar."
Yeah. He claims to be a space wizard. We think he might. I mean, there's something. Yeah.
something going on.
So the captain says, "Yeah, that is damn peculiar." And he says, Well, I would agree.
We can at least study him.
I would agree with your approach. I would say that this is a case of keep something this strange close, and if you see anything stranger, keep it closer.
Yep. Now we need to debrief all the cultural scientists, the psychologists that are on the ship, and
So the one request
this is where we really need Wes. This is
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah,
is
yeah.
a psychologist. These are needle frickin'.
It's so weird for you guys for me to hear you guys describe Wes that way, because I'm used to Wes from the Wednesday night game, and it's like, oh, we really wish Wes was here because he would just kill everything. And you guys are like, oh, well, he's a great doctor. He's got psychological.
Well, yeah, he runs around throwing grenades in the other one. That's it. He had two methods of attacking: run around throwing grenades, usually plasma grenades.
Yes.
or he hugs you.
Yes, right.
And
so,
he melees you to death.
So David Anderreich's one request is he's like, I'm much more comfortable in my normal garb, but I don't have to wear one of these standard issue uniforms, do I?
yeah, nah, we don't.
He's like,
So,
it's not like anybody's not going to recognize me.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Since we're at a nice planet, I want to buy some more wafers.
Okay.
Advocate.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. Yes, you can. And since Yggdrasil,
I forgot to slot mine. I've got Advocate too. That would have made that roll a little higher.
so this UWP rating is for Yggdrasil the world. But that you don't have to worry about that because you are at Yggdrasil the spaceport or the high port on the end of this big carbon nanotube tether. And I mean, yeah, you can purchase anything you want up to tech level 15 because this is where trade comes in both directions. So there is stuff here from the Florian League. There's tech here that you've never seen before.
Okay.
Buy more entertainment databases.
There was actually, oh my goodness, there was a book that was, maybe it was one of the Traveler's Aid Societies. I don't remember, but it actually detailed some of the stuff, the weird stuff that you can get out of the Florian League, like, oh man, now I really want to figure out where that was at. But like they have like little stills that will just randomly generate food out of air. And it has like, it can make like 10 meals or something like that. And they've got like it's almost like Star Trek technology. The thing that's interesting about the Florian League is that they are the Burnai and the Fescals are the last ones. The Florians are the last ones that actually have still working Ancients technology, and that's where they get a lot of this tech. That's if one of the Ancients machines breaks down, they don't know how to fix it and get it to keep running again, so they just move on to another one. But they still have working Ancients technology. And that's one of the reasons why the Florian League is so closed off, is because they don't want the Imperium coming in and saying, hey, we're going to, confiscate your stuff. They're like, no, this is ours. So, yeah, you can purchase your wafer.
Thank you.
Perfect. I might
I
get
can't
some
see what else.
sciences once.
Seeing as I already got survival mechanic, explosives, navigation, life support and maneuver. I'm not so sure I need any more besides advocate.
Right. Hold on here.
I mean, I do have a few skills. I don't have to use them. Too bad I can't stay here a while and upgrade my wafer jack. I can only wear 2 at a time.
Well, you need one of those updated wafer jacks. I have room for 3.
Well, we got ours by shooting somebody and taking it out of their head.
Right.
True. I'm glad it works.
In a true cyberpunk style fashion.
Thanks to Doc.
So you leave Yggdrasil and your journey across the Florian League is fairly boring. But anything that you guys want to buy, is available as you make your journey.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy some science. Wait for Jax.
Can we get something that's not on the CSC?
What do you want?
I want this hand scanner.
I would say while you're in the Florian League, I would say yes, you can buy the. What does it say? What tech level it is?
No, it doesn't. But it only has a range of 2, which is 50 meters.
Okay. Yeah, I would.
It's a single Helm-head device. It has a database on perception, life, and activity detector, magnetic and EM field sensor, and densityometer.
Oh, densitometer. Yeah. So, actually, that actually exists in Traveler. So, yeah, I would say that you can buy that at 50 meters range. That would be, I would say, tech level 15, possibly 16. Might be a prototype.
Yeah, it says some are R3, but that's being ridiculous.
Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you guys are in the traveling through the Florian League. It takes you about 7 weeks. And that's with accounting for time for fuel stops and whatnot. And finally, you get out of the Florian League, leaving from Testros into the beyond sector, and your next stop is actually at Sestri. Now, Sastri, as you guys are coming into Sastri, the captain tells you that they are going to dock at the high port at Sastri because Sastri does not have a gas giant, but they're stopping at Sastri because Sastri is an independent system out here in the middle of the Beyond sector. Not a whole lot is known about their culture, and they kind of want you guys to. In fact, the crew of the ship as a whole is going to be allowed shore leave on this high port, but the captain tells you guys during your briefing, he tells all the department heads this. He says, make sure that you follow the laws to the T. And he says that because Sastri is amber zoned. And the reason it's amber zoned, there it is. The reason that it's amber zoned let's see.
Because they eat people for.
They have a law level of 13.
Holy crap!
And that's why the world is amber zoned, is because they are exceptionally strict with their laws. Sastri is basically a it is a dictatorship. Is that right?
That stealth knife's gonna be illegal.
No kidding. So is my body pistol. How
Shit.
about my stun? How about my stunner?
Tech level or at law level 13, if you're wearing the wrong, if it's not government approved underwear, that might be ticketable offense.
No, yeah, okay. Well, I don't wear any, so I'm fine.
Unlikely. It's got to be government approved or nothing. It got government approved. Nothing's not an option.
Can we have this government approved clothes delivered to the ship before we get off?
And you're not allowed to remove the tags.
That's okay. I'll let somebody's monkey eat them.
So, the captain tells you they are well known that the reason that the area is amber zoned is because Sastry is an example of what happens when you have over regulation, and it's basically regulation run amok, and everything is regulated. And so he warns all of the division heads that while you're on Sastry to be careful and make sure that you follow all the laws. And as you step off the ship, you can see that there are a number of signs. And everybody roll your luck stat.
This is where I'm host. All right.
What do you mean? Well, is it a 2D plus whatever luck is?
Yeah, 2D plus
the
your
modifier.
Yep,
Luck.
plus your luck modifier.
I gave a luck.
13. I got a 13.
Wow. Okay.
11 is +1, right?
Correct.
Okay, I got a 9.
Okay. So George, you guys are on the high port. I mean, for the most part, this high port looks like almost every other high port you've ever been in. It is a Class B starport. You know, it's not the nicest you've ever stepped on, but it looks pretty standard. And you see that there are a number of ship classes you've never seen before. You're out. You do see some Imperial ships, but for the bulk of it, you see that there are a number of ships that you have never seen before. And so, George, wait, did Sarda roll an 8 for his luck?
Yeah,
I've got a luck of 3.
Okay.
I'm pretty happy with that 8.
So I'm sorry, it's not George. It's Sarda. Sarda, as you guys are walking around the starport, taking in the sights, kind of listening to the people, and so the gist of the people watching that you get is that everybody there's like a level of paranoia that runs through everybody. Like, you know, they make sure that they are following all the laws to the letter, and they, you know,
Yep.
like just ordering food. They're like looking over their shoulder, wanting to make sure is there a health inspector around? Because if I don't add 2 pickles to the burger and only put 1 pickle on, I'll get fined and possibly shut down. And so around, you know, you guys have been walking around the high port for about an hour, and Sarda has to go and use the bathroom. And Sarda, you're in the fresher, and you're finishing up, and you notice on the wall there is a sign. And it is a cute little anime drawing sign, and it says this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so they actually have a law that about proper toilet paper usage.
Yep. I mean, it's technically patented that way.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a right and wrong way to do it, right?
Yeah.
So, you guys,
is the Ministry of Household Toiletries?
Yes, there's an entire bureaucracy making sure that people hang their toilet paper properly. And so Sarda comes out of the restroom, and he kind of wipes his hands and tosses the paper towel, and then you guys can see that this look on Sarda's face at seeing the signs, like, what the fuck is with this planet? And you can hear whistles going off, and you can see a bunch of Sastry Highport security personnel running back the direction that you've been walking.
I've thrown that paper towel out appropriately.
Yes, you make sure that you put it in the proper wastebasket receptacle.
Yeah.
And so you see that there are a bunch of security personnel that are running down through the high port, heading back towards where Revelation is docked.
I'm gonna head to the ship.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing?
I'll follow just sorta. I'll just head back to the ship. There's really not much. I mean,
I figure all we could do is get arrested here.
yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
I'm going to follow back, and so's Jack,
Okay.
and so's the Doc. Doc, I've got the Docs in my. I'm escorting the Doc back.
Escorting the Doc back. So,
Well, I don't want him to stop at one of the bars.
yeah, and he probably
He may
would,
come
too.
out and naked and pee on something.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
On here, I actually. Here, sorry, I had to find a name. So you get back to where the revelation is birthed, and of course there's like multiple
somebody wants their snack.
there's like multiple airlock or docking collars that are attached because Revelation's not a small ship. But you get back, and the security personnel are arresting one of your fellow crewmates
For blowing her nose the wrong way.
Yeah, essentially it was she is being arrested for something ridiculous, like one of her shoes was untied, and that's a safety concern. And so
we got to put you in jail to make sure you're safe.
Well, initially they were just going to give her a fine, and she got belligerent when she asked what's the fine for. They consider that belligerence. And so because she talked back to an officer, now she's being arrested. And she is a look of deep concern on her face because you guys are no longer in the Imperium. She didn't know what's going to happen to her.
She's going to disappear.
Well, we'll find another crew member. Remember, we just got the space wizard, so we've got room.
We're in a high port, correct?
Yes.
So there has to be an embassy or lawyers that handle this type of stuff all the time on this high port.
There is no imperial embassy, but there is. So now that Sarda has brought it up, you look around, and not only do you see that same ad for that pyramid scheme, they're having that trade issue going on here too. But the bulk of the ads that you see is for attorneys. Like there is a legal shop on every corner.
No kidding. I might want to be a lawyer in that environment as well. But the only place I ever heard of that I'd want to be a lawyer.
Yeah, but if you get contempt of court, you end up in the gulag. So I mean, maybe not.
So let's
be real polite.
let's call up one of those attorneys. And
so what? This planet has more incarcerated people per capita than the U.S. does? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They may not. I mean, they may just cane them like Singapore does.
Right? Yeah. So okay.
Well,
so
if she's going to get caned, then
we don't know the legal system. That's why
we don't know the legal system. We talk to a lawyer and find out if she's just going to get caned.
So you go into you don't know who's going to be a decent lawyer. So you just find one, and you walk into their shop, and he doesn't even have a secretary. I mean, it's like you walked into a Kinko's. That's how prolific lawyers are. All of their shops are like that. And he looks up and he goes, "Oh, what can I help you with?"
One of our crew members was just arrested, and we're on a 20-year mission, and
we'd like to have her back.
We'd like to have her back because it will be a very long time before we will be returning. And so we're trying to figure out how we can expedite her case. Obviously, we don't want to do anything that might violate the law, but we would want to determine what we could do to have her serve the justice and at the same time be returned to us.
So he tells you that. So the first thing he asks is he says, well, the first thing that I have to do is we have to agree that I would be taking on her case, and that would cost you a total of 300 imperial credits per day. They've got an exchange system here, so he would take imperial credits. It's 300 per day, which honestly seems a bit low. But there's so many lawyers that at some point, because they have lawyers on every street corner like 7-Elevens, that their value drops. And so he's like, 300 credits per day, and I will take the case.
So when are we scheduled to leave? How long are we scheduled to be here?
3 days.
So I
right.
pay him 300 credits.
Okay.
Always give him. Look, we give you. How about we explain what her case is? Because again, our ship leaves in 3 days. I'm happy to pay you 900 credits, but if there's no chance of you getting her out in 3 days, that it would be pointless to even pay you. So.
Well,
he says so. I paid 300, so we at least can ask him these questions, and he can give us legal advice.
So he says the law on Sand Street is that, or Sass Street is that I can't look up to see what they're charging her with, or pull up any of her information until I am legally her attorney.
All right. Well, can I legally make you her attorney if
yes.
I am not? Okay.
Yeah. I already paid him $300 to make him the attorney.
Well, I'm just saying that I would think in a highly litigious society, a stranger can't walk in and say, "I want to make you somebody else's attorney."
That's true.
It's like,
well,
I took a risk.
So then his next question, he wants to know her name, and so he then kind of looks it up, and he says, "Oh, this is going to be serious." So it looks like she was originally. It looks like one of the Velcro enclosures on one of her boots, and this one it says the right boot was not properly fastened, and they were going to issue her a ticket due to safety concerns of all around her. But then she was belligerent with the security personnel. And so they are counting that as assault on high port security personnel. She could be looking at anywhere from 5 to 10 years.
5 to 10 years.
So let's not be belligerent.
Don't ask any questions.
Okay. Is there, in terms of the legal, is there such a thing as any other type of guilty sentencing that would not involve imprisonment?
I don't know.
He says, "Well, that
like our fines,
45 years,
fines or banishment. I don't know what the court has at its
disposal.
Yeah, I don't know what
banishment might work because we could take.
Jack's like, well, we'll just pick her up on the way back.
It would only work if it only works if it's part of their legal system. So I'm trying to figure out what their legal system allows.
That's true.
He says, well, that could be a possibility. I mean, as you might imagine, our justice system is completely overwrought. So even adding one more into the jails is, that's a strain on our system. It is a possibility that I could negotiate some kind of release, perhaps banishment. I will talk to the judge and the prosecuting attorney, and so he says, I will call you on your transceivers or or on your mobile comms as soon as I have information.
Sounds good.
So while you guys, he grabs his briefcase and quickly puts on a clip-on tie, and then runs out of the building. And you assume
I'll make
he's
sure
running.
the tie looks straight.
Yes,
Oh.
you assume that he's running off to do what he just said. You have no idea. He just takes off running, and so then my question: so you guys are standing outside of this legal donut shop, and what would you like to see on Sastri's high port, if anything?
I'd like to see the airlock for for our ship.
I want to go home. Fuck this place.
Like, there's no reason for me to see anything here. I can't even drink a beer without going to jail.
Right? Yeah. Right. Is there anything? I mean,
No, I think it's just a risk.
You guys all want to head back to the ship?
Yeah, I would recommend that nobody from the ship disembark.
Okay, so you guys make your way back to your ship. I will just tell you what it says about Sastry. It says that this is a pleasant garden world. There are small cities, large plantations. It has a reputation as an example of the dangers of overregulation. Rules are everything. Regulation covers everything from the size and shape of cutlery to the proper use of toilet paper. Pervasive surveillance enforces these regulations in all public and in many private areas. The penalties for infractions are well documented and enthusiastically applied, ranging from fines to incarceration to mind-altering therapy. The whole set of regulations is available for public download, although it would take many lifetimes to read the material. Still, ignorance of the law is no excuse, as the documentation comes from a well-turned search engine. Leniency to foreigners rarely applies. If the world was not the only jump to route from Stormhaven Republic to the Florian League, and if the system had some other source of fuel, nobody would bother to visit Sastry. As it is landing at the downport, there is no high port. Oh, there is a high port. And completing authorizations for refueling can take days. Attempting to refuel at the oceans or ice caps result in 5 years incarceration and a multi-million credit fine. All ships and passengers, even those in transit, are subject to intrusive and exhaustive inspections and fined for infractions to rules no reasonable person would believe could exist. Sastry is why a strong market for collapsible and drop fuel tanks exists on both Levanu and Tellus. So Levanu and Tellus. Here's Levanu, and Tellus is over here. So I mean, not that you're going to get collapsible fuel tanks for a 75,000. Yeah, 75,000 ton cruiser. That's a really big drop tank. But so yeah, that's Sastry. And so you have one of your crew members desperately relying on you to get her out of the clink.
And apparently anything we do to try to, besides going through a lawyer, is going to get us in jail.
So you guys are back on your ship, and I will close this up with this. So did you want to bring this matter to the captain and the other division heads?
Yeah, I want to try. Yeah, I mean, this is why I was hoping there might be an Imperial Embassy here or something that we could talk to, so that they would know lawyers that are reputable to go to. For all we know, this guy took $300 on Moran. But yeah, so I'll bring it to the captain's attention.
I honestly hadn't thought about that, but now I'm thinking about it.
And maybe recommend that all the rest of the crews get recalled.
Yeah, we've had a crew member arrested because her Velcro on her shoes was not appropriate. She talked back to the person who arrested her, or was going to ticket her, and as a result has been arrested. We've been told that she could face up 5 to 10 years in jail. We've gone to an attorney and we're attempting to see if a fine or maybe permanent banishment from the system be an acceptable way of pleading guilty to this charge so that we can leave with her. But we'll have to see what happens.
Okay. All right. We will pick this up next week with you guys talking to the lawyer and going to the legal system and finding out what's going to happen to poor Niam McCabe and what what her ultimate punishment's going to be, which maybe
Beheadment.
you know.
I don't know. I just think, they took one of ours. I just don't understand why we couldn't kidnap one of theirs and put them on the ship. I mean, it's not like they have anywhere to go. They're not going to get back. They have to work. Make it fair. Prisoner exchange.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
It's
arresting them because they
kidnapping.
they said something bad about the Imperial.
I'm
And,
guessing. I'm guessing kidnapping's worse than yelling at a guard.
Tomato,
probably,
tomato.
yeah. Yes. I would think that kidnapping would probably lead to mind-altering therapy. Probably.
So they'll love the dictator.
Yeah. See, if Wes was here, he could promise to give her mind-altering therapy.
He could use mind-altering therapy to get them to be convinced that he would give her mind-altering therapy. It's just this big nesting doll. It's a nesting doll of bullshit, if you will.
All right, guys, I got to go to bed because I'm falling asleep. I was up early this morning. All right.
All right, yeah, I gotta head off to
George.
bed
Yeah,
myself.
I may not make it next week. I'll let you know, Chris. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you got
Okay.
your con game going on, right?
No, the con game is the week after. It's going to be like a back-to-back week. That's
Mayday? Is that the Mayday convention?
yeah. I'm running Traveler Destination, my own version,
Nice.
on the Saturday at the con, and I'm also doing a Delta Green on Friday night, I think.
Okay.
Right on.
Yeah, it
Oh,
should be fun. But I think next week I'm actually running Dungeon Crawl Classics for a group out in St. Albert. So
Oh, nice. Let me know how that
Yeah.
goes. I've never played that game. I heard it was
Oh.
really good.
you know
I-
what, Chris, you play like old school D&D and you play like old school Essentials kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
So take all of that old school or OSR style Dungeons and Dragons and just dash in. It's a completely different vibe. Like it's same thing, different vibe, but throw in like a shit ton of random craziness and you've got Dungeon Crawl Classics. It's awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I will look into it.
Anybody around know of any Twilight 2000?
Oh,
Yeah, that's
man.
upstairs. Actually, is it upstairs or is it down here? Oh, this one right here.
Yeah, I was in a
That's
Delta
the
Green
new one.
campaign that went on for quite a while. I enjoyed Delta Green.
Delta Green is fun. This is okay. I kind of like the older version better of Twilight 2000. I don't know where I put that.
Yeah, I've been wanting to play the new version, and I never have gotten around to it. I played some of the original Twilight 2000. Oh my god, way back.
Way back, like 2000.
I play all the games.
No,
Problem.
yeah, no, I mean like Twilight 2000. I must have
Yeah.
been 10, 11 years old, so it was a long time ago.
So
Yeah, it came out when I was
I was probably about 45.
in my teens.
Yeah,
So-
it was a long time ago. Back when it was still canon that Twilight 2000 was the precursor to 2300.
Yeah.
Back when I was in my teens, the only game around to play was Avron Hills.
Oh,
Oh, are you kidding me? I love those games.
I
Like,
still
all
got
of the
them.
Squad Leader.
I got Squad
oh my
Leader with all the expansions and
God.
my 300, my 1 to 300 scale lead tanks fit just perfect in the squares.
Yeah. I still have wooden ships and Iron Men in a closet somewhere too. That was a fun one.
We started
Nice.
with Midway.
Yeah, that was good.
I used to play with
Yeah.
somebody that actually still played Midway.
Yeah, that was. You know what? I've got a friend who has an entire wall of all the old Avalon Hill games, and it used to be just like that was a whole weekend, just
Yeah.
spent with little cardboard pieces
Yep.
trying to kill each other.
Yes, I'm old enough that by 11 that role playing games were out. So 78 was when I started, and we never did the tabletop stuff. Just right
Oh,
off the bat,
really?
right off the bat, D&D Champions, and Gamma World. We were playing the hell out of all three of those. Car Wars.
We used to have a
Car Wars.
good mix. Titan was a great board game too. We had down on the table from Avalon Hill. Have you ever seen that one?
No.
No.
I have actually 2 boards of that. It's a silly game, but yeah,
played-
I don't know. I just
It's a
Wiz
silly
War.
game.
Wizard War.
Yeah, it was called Wiz War. It was a played the original. They made a sequel later, much later on. That's not as good. A revised version, but yeah. Ogre.
Yeah, played Ogre.
Ogre.
Star Wars.
So yeah, in fact, I'm Fresno, where I'm from, is the in the Car Wars in-game history. That's where the first Car War officially occurred, where a guy slapped a 50 cal on a Chevy during a demolition derby.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's the rest where the origin of Car Wars is Fresno,
Oh,
California.
you think a 7.62 M60 would be enough?
Well, you know, go big or
It
go
depends on
home.
the rounds.
You know, AP rounds and a 7.62 will go right through the
You need
engine
the
block.
AP rounds. Just normal rounds are not going to do much against a demolition car. I mean,
Yeah.
those
Well,
are
yeah.
steel.
You need instant results. Those cars get beat up pretty badly, pretty quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
Put a couple rounds into the engine. Ain't gonna go very far.
Yeah, we used to go to demolition. The last day of the fair always had a demolition derby.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thanks,
Yep.
Arda, and guys, and Chris. I'll see you guys later.
Yep, I will
Take care.
see you guys next week, and we'll pick up with the legal
Yeah.
concerns on Sastry.
Don't blame me. You guys can sit and chat.
I gotta try and get some sleep as well.
Take care, all.
Have a good night, guys.